All right, and this one is masterclass, or what they call on circles. They call them master classes. But Mike and I are calling this one a practice circle. All right, so and I'll let him explain more of that to you all as to why he likes that terminology better. But we're wintering to wellness, a whole month of letting go. So we got last week was the first week with this one, and then we're going three more. Well, counting this week, 3 more weeks. For this session. All right. But without further ado, y'all, come on, Mike. Holler at us.
All right. Hey!
Hold on. See, my neurodivergent mind, that's exactly what I was. That's exactly what
exactly the same.
Oh man, bro. Have you ever read Amelia Bedelia books like growing up?
No.
You never heard it? Oh man, she was so literal. And I used to say, growing up, I used to be like, man, she got to be autistic or something. Because she was literal. You say hit the road, she'd be sitting there with a stick hitting the road. And that's how my mind sees stuff when people say certain things.
Yeah, there was somebody that shared in a room last week that being from another culture, same thing. You come with the literal, and somebody said something, and the other person said, "Get out," and they left. And it was like, oh, wait.
Man, it is what it is. It is what it is. All right, man. Go ahead. Floor is yours.
Oh, yeah. So you were first. I'll start with the whole masterclass versus practice circle. So many of us facilitators, actually, class is something that we have this bank of knowledge that we want to give to y'all. And but as a facilitator, I know Zara feels this way. I know Dinar feels this way. I feel this way. That the actual true genius and wisdom lives inside y'all. And what our charge is to open y'all up to it, turn your heads to it, shift your perspective to it, and allow that to shine. And so that's, and when it comes to practice circle, I like learning circle, practice circle. I mean, using the word circle, like we're in circles. And there's these different types and different ways that we can do things. We can vent, a venting circle. We can learn, a learning circle. And this is a practice circle where it's implied that you will be participating in what's happening for you. I'm not here to tell you how to let go, because the way to do that is in you. And so what I offer in terms of information coming out of my mouth or practices for you to practice is about you opening up to hearing yourself and feeling yourself in, oh, this is how I'm holding on. And so this is how I can let go. And so this is what we're doing here.
Yeah, love it. See, I couldn't have said it better. I couldn't have said it no better than that.
No, because you ain't me, sir. That's right. You would say it in the beautiful way that you would say it.
Facts. Hashtag facts. Facts. Everybody just put in the chat. Facts. Facts.
Facts. FACTS, not FAX.
Right. Yeah.
Like the old school.
Oh man. All right, y'all in for it. Hope y'all got y'all pen and y'all paper.
Y'all too funny.
Man. Y'all put it together. Y'all was waiting on it and you got it. So
So over in the chat, y'all can see last week on, for those of y'all that weren't here for last week or didn't listen to the podcast on Spotify, last week I had some questions that just kind of was an orientation to this whole thing. Today, we're going to do a couple of different practices, some body breathing practices to get our bodies as a part of this conversation. Mm-hmm. And so if you weren't here last week, the 3 questions that I had for people to really explore into that you can hold on to, copy and paste those onto your own device so you can have those with you. What wording do you use for letting go of something or someone? And then there's some examples there. And there were also some beautiful examples from other people. So listen to that podcast. You'll be able to hear some beautiful things, including Zara's let be and letting be. Which is, I even shared the podcast with a couple of friends, and they were like, yeah, that letting be, that.
Yeah.
So there's some things that resonate. And the whole point behind that question was really about the words that we use really signify how we hold and what we're doing with it. Even James was sharing, like, what's the difference between, letting go and cutting off? And there's very much a physical somatic experience in that. Letting go seems like an ungripping and ungrasping, where cutting off feels like a wounding. And so there's you can see into yourself through the way that you hold or use words around letting go. Yeah. And then the other two questions: what do you want to let go? And what makes you want to let it go? So that was last week. This week, let's see, I have some reflection questions for y'all. Actually, first, let me make sure I get the orienter, because we also did paste. Winter time versus winter season. And that's really just about the way that we've worked our calendars. Winter time has turned into this active exhausting of resources, pushing of resolve, and starting instead of ending. Whereas the winter season, what we're trying to be more in line with and practice more toward, is responding to colder weather. How do we respond to colder? We were talking a little bit about it before. It's like we have to navigate it differently than we do, temperate, regular, not regular, but temperate or warmer climates. So how do we respond to colder weather, lesser resources, slower pacing? There's a lot that goes into it. How we respond to it and how we can / I'll use the word here, should respond to it, is how other organic beings, trees, plants, animals, beasts, respond, insects even, respond to colder weather, slowing their pace down, taking things in a different way, even marshaling resources to make sure that I have enough to last when things get really scarce. And so moving more toward that. And then the being present for our endings is something that we, as a society, as American society, or as these kind of Northern Hemisphere societies go, the endings end up being reflections on the past or projections into the future rather than present for the end. So that was kind of like an overview of what we did last week and got into last week. Right. What you guys say about all that, Zar? What did you come out for last week?
I was just finna ask folk if they enjoyed last week, because I've been thinking about it all this week. Just that whole thing of, what am I letting go? He posted too in for those of you that didn't know, posted some of those things in some reminders this week in the Wellbeing Cafe with Zar. If any of y'all are following that, get in there, because that's some little reminders that he posted in it. But I was just sitting there thinking even further on the things that we're having to or wanting to let go of, and I think last week, I think I mentioned one of the things that I mentioned was just that whole wanting to let go of the fear of letting go.
Yeah.
And so I've been reflecting on that this week, and I've been kind of consciously just bringing to my mind, bringing to my heart, bringing through all that I am, that unclenching of the fist, and practicing it with a lot of things, with everything. Man, I've been practicing it even with my food.
Hey.
Like,
hey,
all right,
hearing that.
This meal is over.
About. This is practice circle, baby.
For sure. So it's like, that's how I sort of work these things. I was going to say work them in, but it's really actually how I work them out, bringing them up within me. Because I always look for when anytime I hear like principles or just guidelines or just things like that, they kind of give us some sense of direction for how to live our life. Tools. I think a lot of people use around here, we use the word tools. I look for them in me.
Yes.
And so that they can be released from me as an authentic part of my being. So that's just what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. That is beautiful. See, we got a couple of hands here. What y'all want to share? Let's go. What's up, Dana?
Hey, that wasn't an easy question for me to answer, because there's so many things that I want to let be, but I hold a lot of grudges. And it's always been hard for me to let things be.
I don't believe that. Dana's so
really
beautiful. She's just so... No, I'm just playing. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it's just hard to pinpoint. Where do I start? And I start to let things be in my mind with some things, and then it just keeps circling back. So yeah,
Right. And
yeah,
and you said the perfect thing that's just like exactly about what this practice circle is about, and bringing our bodies into the conversation brings a different a drop down in layers. So you're talking about I let go, I think I'm letting it go mentally, but then it circles back around. And that's mostly because we don't bring the rest of our system online in terms of the conversation. It just
Mm.
stays in that mental place. And it's like, okay, I can rearrange the furniture, I can distract myself, I can do all these things, but my body's still holding on to it. My emotions still got a grip onto it. And I haven't brought them a part of the conversation.
yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Thanks, Dana. Go ahead, Lorianne.
Hey, what you said about wanting to let go of the fear of letting go. Um, I resonate with that so powerfully. Um, Ever since the death of my father, I have had some pretty intense anticipatory grief when it comes to losing my mom.
Mm.
Um, we had a very tumultuous, I shouldn't say very tumultuous, that's actually not accurate. I didn't feel extremely close to her because she was not an active parent, because she struggled with mental illness and she had her hands full with trying to do what she could with my sister. My dad was the more active parent, pretty much raised me on his own. But now we've worked through so much of that. I mean, I told her everything I had to say. She told me, she apologized, and we talked. We just have a very strong and authentically strong relationship after going through going through it together. It took us a long time to get there, and our relationship now is one of the most powerful relationships, authentically free relationships I have in my life. And I I really struggle sometimes with fear of losing her. Like an example, sometimes when I won't hear from her for a certain period of time that doesn't seem normal for her, I will actually get heart palpitations of like, oh my God, it happened, blah, blah, blah. Like it's actual anxiety that there's all these random triggers for. And you had told me once in relation to something that I had told you that I should something about exploring my relationship with lack. Um,
Mm.
and I feel like I've kind of been doing that. I don't think I like it very much. um, yeah. So I guess my question is if you have tips in regards um, to managing that. I mean, I know you're talking about, asking yourself certain questions, being curious. I feel like what I'm hearing from that is being curious about the actual fear. Um,
There is
is there,
definitely a curiosity at play here, but it's also, and maybe even more importantly, at the core of it, it's about being present to it, because that's the part
Mhm.
where it's like you have a contentious relationship with lack, and that contention uh, gets a lot of us to leave the present, leave the feeling. A lot of it,
Yeah.
there's a lot of speaking about be present and be with your feelings and everything like that. But these feelings, man, these feelings suck. And a whole lot of ways that I deal with suck is to avoid the shit out of it.
Hmm.
So the being present for that relationship and all the feelings that show up for it and it's a practice, and you just continue with that and being there, and not even bringing the curiosity online until you're actually able to be with it. You're being with it, and then it's like, okay, this is what it feels like. Now I can get curious about where does it come from, or how does it feel, where do I feel it, what's the flavor of it, what's the details and nooks and crannies of it. Okay, now where is it coming from, why am I doing it? What's up with all that? And so the curiosity comes a little bit after the being present with it.
That's good.
sorry, just a quick follow up from that. So, okay, so going through this in my mind. All right, so something
You're going through it in your
happens.
mind. You're going through
Wait,
it in your mind.
No, I mean, I'm trying to imagine a scenario that we're talking about so I can ask you my question, if that makes sense.
Yes, and I want to be careful with going too much into any details, especially when it comes to the mechanics, because that's what this is for. This whole like 4 week journey is about we're getting oriented to it now, and then later on we're actually going to get into a physical practice that you'll be able to to start doing this week, and then when we come to the room
Mm.
next week, we'll be able to explore that and see, okay, what more have you been discovering in this? Because there's a
Okay.
whole lot of things that our mind want to grab onto, but this isn't. But that's another thing to be letting go later.
Mm. Mm.
I
That's good.
definitely appreciate like the curiosity in that way. Our minds really want to understand. We want that. We want that certainty so bad,
Yeah.
and that's why it's a practice. It's like, okay, there's something that I want to let go of. I've been trying to let go for decades, and I've done all the mental things. Now we're going to start a different kind of conversation when it comes to
Yeah. That's because we're bright, bro. I mean, it's
that.
me and Lorianne went to DeVry. No, I'm just.
See, I'm not gonna keep on standing for this DeVry shade. I ain't even go, but
Oh man. Go ahead, James.
Hey, Zara, go ahead
Oh,
and go to Spirit, and I'm gonna raise my hand back up.
okay. I was going to say he took it literally, y'all. He did that whole gone. He left. All
yep.
right. Yeah, put your hand back up in a minute. Go ahead, Spirit.
Hey everybody.
Hey.
Yes, I wanted to. That caught my eye. I was actually still not my eye, my ear, while I was working. When you said letting go of the fear of letting go. Um, and for me, I think what keeps me stuck there sometimes of the um letting go of the fear of letting go is because when I think like maybe being codependent to your trauma. Um, who am I when this trauma's gone? If I let this go and this is what I've been used to for so long, what does that look like? How
That's the
what
part right there.
how do I move like this? Because I've let that go, but it's been a part of me for so long that I don't what whoever was talking about the grudge, like
Mm-hmm.
letting that go or that forgiveness word, like really truly letting it go. what what does that look like? I mean, some of us have carried stuff from childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Finally being able to let that go,
Mm-hmm.
that's a fear right there of what is who am I without my trauma?
Right. Yeah, I mean, you're speaking so much to even with the themes that show up in our rooms and everything. I've been hearing so many folks where it's like tracking back the relationship that just ended and everything like that, tracking all the way back to parents. And, oh, that's how my dad spoke to me. That's how my mom spoke to me. That's how my siblings spoke to me. And that's what I've been carrying and it has been driving me this whole time. So if I decide to turn away from those voices, what am I left with? Who am I
Mm.
left with? I don't have a whole worldview now. I don't, what? And
Who do I
you're
listen to?
also recognizing that those voices aren't really speaking to you, deep you, speaking to outside circle, get in line you.
Mm-hmm.
And so and that also speaks to that certainty that our minds grasp for. If I don't have this, then what do I have?
Mm.
Opportunity for
Yeah,
something else.
it's like you don't want to get into another situation like that. You don't want to continue to carry it, but it's like it's like another limb. Like it almost grew. Like it's a like I feel like some of this gunk, this residue from the past has attached itself to me like a
Yes.
leech, and I'm trying to let it go, and it's like come
Mm-hmm.
back, and
Mm-hmm.
then moving forward when you are ready to move forward and you let it go of that toxic stuff and people start treating you good, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. This is uncomfortable because it's positive, it's loving, it's supportive,
and there's got to be
and
something on the
it
back end of
feels
that, right?
it feels foreign. Like, okay, when you gonna start acting stupid? So yeah.
Yeah. What you're speaking to, it's interesting. The image that popped into mind. So we talked about, people being more like plants, or like Zara would say, trees, than machines. And you're talking about the gunk that lives inside you. I was thinking, I was actually feeling into this yesterday, that these things that we want to let go of, if we are organic, they're like little organic things that are attached to us. So they have a root system, a stem system, and a bloom system. And what we're trying to do is pull out the root, not just snap off the stem and then throw it away. Then that root can just grow that thing back up again. We have to get from that bloom into that stem, all the way reaching into the roots, and then either pulling it out or dissolving those roots so it just falls out. But if you yank an organic thing out of an organic being, there's a gigantic wound there. So how else can we engage that process without it wounding us so deeply?
Goodness.
So I want to mention, I want to definitely get into our practices and everything like that. So a couple of things. I'll just say take another like 10 minutes more to kind of do, sharing and everything, and then we'll get into the meat of our time together, and direct everybody over to the chat, where I have some reflection questions for this week. So last week I was saying, take as much time as you can during the course of the week with yourself to ask yourself, to really get into the nooks and crannies and details of what you want, what or who you want to let go of. And so the reflection questions on this past week: how much did you check in with yourself around what or who you want to let go? What more did you notice about what or who you want to let go? And what more did you notice about how you are still holding on? So for those of y'all that are just kind of hearing this conversation and want to process about last week, they're your reflection questions.
Wow. Yeah. Go ahead, Jay.
Okay, so for me, it's like Chinese food. And before y'all say, what you talking about, WeLLS? Let me let me explain. So when I was a kid, when my parents took me to Chinese restaurant for the first time, I waited like 30 minutes because I would always hear these stories, So I was like, I had the food right there, but I was waiting 30 minutes because I was debating with myself that I want to try it. I'm scared to try it, yada, yada. So the fear of letting go or wanting to let go, it's like, for me, it's like that. It correlates back to food because, after a while, I was like, oh, okay, I like Chinese. But now you go to another restaurant, it don't taste the same. You still have that little fear of, can I? It's the same thing when you go through relationships. You have that fear of letting go, even though you need to. There's a good song by Dwayne Woods called Let Go. And it talks about giving yourself peace. And so for me, it correlates back to Chinese food. Chinese food now brings me peace because I was able to let go of the fear of wanting to try something new.
Yeah.
Go ahead, James. I dig that. I dig the connection that's there that you can reference when it comes to, all right, here's another thing that I'm a sneer at, turn my nose at, pull my head back from, and there might be something on the other side of it that's beautiful and healthy for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Rochelle. We see you.
Hey, Zar. Hey, MiiK. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
So, reflection questions. I hope you guys can hear me clearly.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. So the first question: how much did you check in with yourself around what you want to let go? I think I shared in MiiK your rooms that I'm trying, or in even Zar's room, I want to let go of the relationship I was in for 16 years. And as you guys know, somehow my crazy butt left Atlanta and came back here to Maryland, and we're living under the same house. But this whole experience has just brought me closure as far as, stop holding on to the past, and learn to accept the present and where we are, and actually look at what is being presented and not putting my own interpretation of what he means by his actions. And that's because of my own longing of him wanting to be that way, when in reality, the signs were all there, whether present or in the past. All the signs were there. I just refused to look at it, and I refused to accept it. Um, that's basically what I noticed about what I need to let go of is I was in denial. I was constantly still hoping. I'm not saying that you're not supposed to hope, because you are supposed to hope for better days and have that faith, but you have to have discernment within yourself to know when you have to let go, when there's nothing else you can do. You tried your best, you gave it your all. And in my scenario, I gave it my all, but I just kept trying, because that was something I saw growing up with my parents. As I shared in the previous room, I was, sexually abused. My mom wasn't the perpetrator, but my mom still kept trying to hold the family together, even though I went through this. And she just kept trying, even though the signs were like, stop already. You know what I mean? She just kept going and trying. And I'm not faulting her, because I'm 40 now. I got to learn to take my own responsibility for my life. And I think I'm in a space right now that I'm slowly accepting. And even though I'm in this situation now with my ex, we're in the same house. I am moving end of March back to Las Vegas. So I already made decisions, as far as that goes. Fear still kind of creeps in here and there, but I'm standing my ground, and I'm constantly working with my mind and my spirit to basically remind myself that you're going to be okay. You've survived so many things already. And what more did you notice about how you are still holding on? Again, when the fear creeps in at times, I tend to close my fist or my hands to
Hmm.
try to hold
Hmm.
on to what we had, but then I remind myself, open up your hands, let it
Hmm.
fall, let it go through. Whatever's left there, fine, let it sit there, but don't hold on, because you can hold on so tightly, you're just hurting yourself. And you're not in alignment in what your flow is supposed to be. And again,
Yeah.
that's a lot of stuff that I learned in your class, or in Mike's class, so that's me.
Yeah.
That's what I feel
Mm.
about those questions.
Oh, that's
Hmm.
such a beautiful thing. One of the thing that my mind is just totally gravitating to is that you were saying the thing that Zara was saying earlier about your using your hands and your in that like actual physically releasing a clenched hand, and that is exactly the where we're headed. So it feels it's like validating even for me to just hear y'all bringing your bodies into the conversation before we even got
Yeah.
to that part. It's because it's just like a natural thing. Okay, I got the mental thing down. Now there's another part of this conversation that needs to happen, and so it's really cool to hear that. Go ahead, Zara.
Hmm. No, I was just agreeing, but we got Vinny right there, and um, Vinny, and then we're gonna go into more of the practice of this. So, got like a couple minutes for a question and then or a response, and then we'll go into more with the actual practice. Where'd you go, Vinny?
I was right here, but never mind.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. All right, Mike.
All right. So over in the chat, I posted a little Google Doc, the one that I posted from last week, more like plants. And there's 3 circles that you can see in there, almost like 3 levels, getting layers deep, 3 layers, I should say. So we were talking about this mental one last week, how we mentally hold on who or what we want to let go. Really being able to pay attention to the thoughts and images. If y'all were in either my group chat or Zara's group chat, I posted in there that with some questions around, like in that blue section, head, hands, feet, and there were some questions that were specifically in there, and I'll go through those questions in the little physical practice that we're doing. And then this week, we're moving more into the red, the physical hold on. And that's neck, arms, legs, that mobility piece. There's a reaching, there's a speaking, there's a moving toward what we're still trying to let go of that we're doing. We're getting into more of the how, the resources that we use to continue doing the thing that we say that we don't want to. In the same way that, like in winter, there's resources that are diverted. If we think about the leaves on the trees falling down, what the tree has learned over time is that trying to use resources to hold on to these leaves actually depletes me. So I'm going to take most of this energy and direct it toward the roots in the ground, where there's more activity, there's more warmth available, and the roots are actually the thing that are going to keep me stable and alive during this time. If I redirect those resources, so that's what we're going to be moving into with that.
That's good, Mike. That's good. I'm looking at this image. How can I be like you, man?
No, you don't
and still be like me though, because I don't want to lose me. I don't want to lose me though. I like me.
Well, I mean, you already named the practice that you do is that whatever resources and tools that you hear about or discover outside of yourself, you try to find them inside yourself.
Yeah.
There it is. All right. So let us get into this practice. I mentioned last week, this is like a continuation. This is like a continuation of the 6-week journey that I did with Denard. And it was about introducing practices, a mental, a physical, and an emotional, like landing in the place of emotional. And so we're going to, bring the practice. The practice is attending to yourself, being present for you. And depending on what you do and how you engage that being there with you is which layer that you're going to be engaging and participating in. So with that, if you're in a place that you can, find a comfortable place to be in that you can be in, like, I'll say 5 minutes. We most likely won't do a full 5-minute piece, but make sure that you have at least like 5 minutes that you can not be disturbed, not be perceived. I know for myself, being perceived will have me act differently. That's me directing resources toward what people see. And this is not the space or time for that. This is for you to be with you, having your resources for you, so you don't have to guard yourself against what's outside of you. So find yourself a comfortable place, a container for yourself. We talked about last week, it's name and contain. This week is reflect and ingest. Reflect and ingest. We are what we eat. So if we know what it is, we mentally know what we're holding on to, let's go ahead and eat that. Let's feel that. Let's have that be a part of our experience so that we can get a little bit closer to it. So find yourself in a comfortable place, find your body in that place. You can do this whether you're standing, sitting, or laying down. So one of those three, which one resonates for you? Which one do you have access to? And get yourself there. As you're getting yourself there, make sure that you're able to be in that position using the least amount of energy possible. We want to be very efficient with how we're holding ourselves. So not
unclench my shoulders.
Yeah, might want to do that. Might want to do that, or not. You can have them clenched. You might find that clench, and then it might dissolve itself. Mm-hmm. I'm just talking about how you're holding yourself. Like if you're standing, not too far forward or backward. If you're sitting, not too far forward or backward, but just like, straight up and down if you're straight, or just kind of leaning on something so that you can just be there with your body. And as you're there, find your breath. And when I say find, we're trying to collect all the little different aspects of your breath. How deep or shallow it is, how fast or slow it is, how warm or cool the air is coming out of your nose or mouth. What part of your body is shifting? Is it more chest or is it more belly? Being there and staying there. This is our anchor. I speak about this a lot. I cannot breathe in the past or future. So if I'm with my breath, I'm closer to the present than normal, than I usually am. You will have peripheral awareness orbiting around you. Allow that to be there. This isn't about quieting your mind. This is about anchoring in that breath and allowing the rest to be. Still, you don't have to change your breath, but you might notice it change. And in that allowing, in that receiving, allowing it to be. Sometimes we want to grab onto it and control it. But here you don't have to. Here's our first little practice of letting go and letting be. Now, as you're anchored in that breath, I'm going to ask you a few questions, maybe give you a few prompts, and just do those very slowly. We don't want to bring speed into the equation. We don't want to pull ourselves out from that anchor. So, deep breath right now, a prompt deep breath, and let it go. All right. What thoughts, images repeatedly show up around who or what you want to let go? You have a sense of who or what you want to let go now. What thoughts or images show up for you in that? You can keep that curiosity. Allow me to be your questioner. Stay anchored with your attention to your breath. What thoughts or images repeatedly show up around who or what you want to let go? When you receive your answer, go ahead and breathe deep into that. And then when you breathe out, it's like you're breathing that answer back out to whoever or whatever in you responded. It's like letting yourself know, I heard you. I was listening. Next question. And with this question, you're going to grip and let go of your hand. You're going to squeeze and release your hands. What part or pieces of this who or what are you gripping onto? You're squeezing your hand and releasing while still staying anchored with your breath, very slowly. What part or pieces of this who or what are you gripping onto? When you receive that answer, breathing that deeply into yourself, and then breathing that answer back to where you got it from. Next prompt and question involving your feet. So when you go into this next one, you're going to stop with the hands and move to your feet, curling and flexing your toes, even kind of rocking your feet in place on whatever surface that your feet are on. Where are you stuck in time or place with this who or what you want to let go. Staying anchored in your breath. I can feel a lot of kind of moving away from the breath. You want to get that breath back. Where are you stuck in time or place with this who or what you want to let go? Again, when you receive that answer, breathe it into yourself and breathe that answer back out to where it came from, letting it know, I heard you. Next prompt and question. This is moving from that mental and that outside more toward the inside. This one is neck. What you're going to do is you can rock your head back and forth, left or right, or you can turn your head from side to side, activating that neck, staying with your breath. Question. How do you call toward who or what you want to let go? How do you call toward who or what you want to let go? I'll even introduce another one into this neck area. Question for that. How do you look toward who or what you want to let go? Look or call, whichever one resonates for you. Breathing that answer in, and then breathing it back out to where it came from. Next prompt and question. Bringing your neck to stillness, and now we're engaging our arms. However you want to move your arms, or slowly. You can wave them, you can flex them, just move them back and forth. However you want to engage your arms. Slowly, staying with breath. Question. How do you reach toward who or what you want to let go? How do you reach toward who or what you want to let go? When you receive that answer, breathe it in, and then breathe that response back to where it came from. I heard you. How do you reach toward who or what you want to let go? And last question. Letting our arms go back to stillness. And now we're engaging our legs. Slowly flexing or moving. Anchored in that breath. Let's get back into that breath again. This is where that end comes that we might want to move away from, but we're going to stay here at the end. This is just as important as the beginning and everything in between. question. How do you move toward who or what you want to let go? How do you move toward who or what you want to let go? When you receive that answer, breathe it deeply into yourself and then pause at the bottom. And then when you breathe out, you're going to breathe that back to where it came from. And then you're going to pause at the top. And then get back to your normal cadence of breath. How do you move toward who or what you want to let go? All right, and at the very end for you, I'm just going to have you do a full body kind of move and stretch from head to toe to kind of allow all of this stillness and all of this activity to mix in with itself and each other. Still staying with your breath all the way through the end. We'll give ourselves 15 seconds to do that. It's still, again, very slowly. 10, 5, 3, 2, and 1. What happened for you, Czar?
Hold on, I'm still there. No, I'm just playing. You know, I guess I am still there. Hold on.
Oh, yeah. Take your time.
There's a whole, like, lightness. Freedom is what I feel. That's the word that I'm freeing. While we were doing that, I kept getting the imagery was coming as, and then I noticed that my body was moving in a way that was almost as if I'm dancing.
Mm-hmm.
And even like thinking of letting go of the fear, whatever, I could see or sense that it was there, but I was free even in the midst of it.
Ooh.
And just being able to flow, letting it be what it is, and not, and also kind of what was, it's like, it's not really this enemy. It's just there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's still very present, but I don't, and this may sound odd. Well, no, it may not sound odd, but I don't feel that it's weighing me at all.
Mm. Did you feel, you talked about a dance. Did you feel when in that dance that freedom started to become more pronounced, and when that, did you use the word heavy?
Yeah.
Yeah, when it was started to become lighter.
Yeah. You know how they say feet got light. And it's interesting that it comes out as a dance, because I'm not a dancer. Like, I don't generally, I wouldn't be one to say I can dance, but that's what it feels like. And it's airy. It's very airy. Spirit-like.
Yeah, allowing the activity to mix in with the stillness, with the grasping, And it's like, oh, this grasping, even though it seems like a still thing, it has a lot of activity in it. And if I engage that activity differently, then that grasping can turn into a releasing.
And that's exactly what it is. It's a different way of engaging it.
Mm. I know we only got 3 minutes left, but I'm very curious if there's, a person that has kind of a quick something that happened for them. Yeah, go ahead, Spirit.
For me, what I noticed is that my body stays tight.
Mm.
Like I'm braced for something.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a fear of letting that tightness go because something might sneak in.
There's so many folks in our society that are doing that.
That's exactly why I said in the beginning, so unclench my shoulders. Because I've realized I've lived that way. Yep. Go ahead, Spirit. Sorry.
No, yeah. That it was like it's like, wow, this feels too comfortable.
Ooh.
And how we say we get comfortable in our discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
Now that felt like way too light. Like,
uncomfortable
wait a minute,
in your comfort.
Yeah, it's like, put another brick on me. I'm starting to feel too loose. Like I'm carrying a lot and bricks were falling off, and put some more on because I feel exposed.
Yes, that part.
Yeah.
It's risky. The last, not the last, but one of the earliest memories that we have that feels the most wounded is when we were the most open and the most vulnerable as kids. Mm-hmm. Everything got in.
Exactly.
Everything.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But even with it, but I feel okay. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like that fear, like he's like that fear to not let go. But then it's like, no, but I'm good. I'm actually, this is uncomfortable because it's unfamiliar.
Yes.
But I'm seeing that even in this unfamiliarity, even in this uncertainty, quote unquote, my spirit is sustaining me. I'm good. So now I don't even have to engage with the clench because it's like it's showing me, myself is showing me, my spirit is showing me, my inner, that breath. And it was something with this anchoring to the breath. It's showing me, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm comfortable with it, and I wish that's why I understand why this is a practice. Mm-hmm. Because what I just felt is not the norm for me. This is going to have to be a practice that, it gave me a good result. It was unfamiliar, like you said, Czar, and a little scary.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
Oh, yeah. And please be honest, especially with yourself. Please, with yourself.
Yeah.
Nadia.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I resonate with the Spirit's reflection. I feel like oh God, this is so hard to say. I feel like I'm wanting to run away from from the practice, MiiK.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm actually getting up from the couch. I'm like, oh, let me go find my car keys. Let me go.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, I really need my car keys right this moment.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. This very minute, that car, I gotta find the keys. But I think it's because of the lack of validation of my molestation. Like I was very young, and until now, it's what you're saying. It's like that wisdom is in me. It's very hard for me to hear you say that. Like, I'm the one who has the wisdom to like resolve what's in me because of that molestation. And I'm finding that, whoever did sit and hear my story, I'm like, okay, now they're going to leave, right? They're going to walk out the door and they're going to leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like you're kind of saying, and who cares? Let them go. Who cares about them? Like, doesn't matter if they're a therapist, a doctor, a judge, whatever they are, like, or police, like, whatever. Like, they're not who's important in this matter.
Right.
So I'm stuck at like my age of 3 years old when that stupid stuff started happening.
And I want to mention too, so you were talking about like it doesn't matter if they leave, and the exact the part that's attached to that's even more important is you don't leave, because that's one of the things that we've done is we leave. We feel that, we see that, and all of a sudden I have to get my keys.
I really need the keys.
Right.
It's bothering me now, but yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
I'm leaving. Like, I think I was good at art in high school. I did draw out the room and where I was, and then I rip it and I go. I leave myself. I leave whatever I painted, whatever I, and it's good. It's a good like my art teacher was like, "Who are you?" It's like I'm like, "Oh, I don't know where this came from." It's just a very strong memory that I have. So maybe this time I can paint it and just leave it on my wall. And whoever asks, if someone comes to my house, I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's my molestation." Like, I think that's the shame that I'm holding on to, the shame my parents are holding on to. And even the person who did all that stuff, like, he's like, "I'm not sorry." So it's sorry for explicit stuff, but
no need to apologize.
What?
Yeah.
I was gonna say what? Nope.
Yeah, like he said, "I'm not sorry," and I was well into my 30s when he said that. So I'm like, okay, maybe that's good. That's good that you're not sorry, because now I know, as Denard says, not to make sense out of nonsense. Nonsense.
And focus on you being with you, anchored into that breath and anchoring to yourself. Hey, I'm not going anywhere anymore.
No.
Yeah.
And just a recognition, I'm not going anywhere, and I my reflexes are that I will go somewhere. So I practice staying here with me.
Yeah. Wow.
Thank you, Nadia.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Whew. Well, thank you. First of all, Nadia, you said Denard said don't make no sense. What did he say?
Don't make sense out of nonsense.
Yeah.
Don't make sense out of nonsense. Okay, Denard said that. Let me plagiarize that.
You plagiarized just a minute.
Just because he plagiarized it. So we let's write that down, Mike, so we can remember.
When are the three of you gonna be in one room?
Oh, that's coming online sometime. Don't worry about that, y'all. We're still here.
Right.
Okay. We need Boys to Men or something.
Not Boys to Men.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh man. Listen, folks. Listen, if this session was good for you today, please show some sign. Show some kind of sign that we know this was supportive for you. If it hit right where you are, right where you're at, man, my goodness, man. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for being you. Wow.
Most definitely.
Any final thoughts from you?
Yeah, I'll just I'll mention that again, in Czar's group chat, in my group chat, I will be posting those questions that I asked y'all and the context underneath them, like the blooms and the stems, the blue and the red from that picture. So if y'all are in that chat, in those chats, look out for that. And I'll also just kind of encourage y'all to engage with that. You can even put it in the thread so it doesn't like populate the whole other part of the chat. But if you feel comfortable, respond to those.
Mhm.
Put those things in there so you not only can you go back to them, but that we can
Yeah.
be alongside y'all with that too.
Yeah. 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 Most definitely, folks. Please, y'all, please, if you can help it, don't miss these next couple of weeks. Don't miss these next couple of weeks. Let's let go together. Let's winter through this together. And like you said, engaging in those chats with that, in that thread with that, because you don't know the power, that there's still a power of a group. There's still that power of being connected and seeing others that are doing the same things that you're doing. It
Mhm.
does something for us. It really does something for us. It aside from just holding us accountable, it encourages us. It encourages us to keep at what we're doing, so please share as you will. Again, as always, when we get out of here, please leave a review. Let Circles know how this session went for you. And man, until next week, same bat time, same bat channel.
And take
Or
care.
same mic time, same mic channel. Or,
Yup.
or back here at the spot, y'all. I see y'all back here at the spot.
Take care.
Oh man. Take care of yourself, folks. All right. Peace, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Mike, you
Peace.
got to say it.
I got a
That's
huh?
good.
You got to say it, Mike. We always get your ending.
Oh yeah.
Till
Thank
next
y'all for
time.
sharing, and thank y'all for receiving. And until next time, take care of yourself.
I love it. I'm still there too. No, I'm just playing.
Bye,
All
boys.
right, folks.
And
Boys to men. Right. That part. Holler at you, folks. Peace.
Bye, everyone.